Oil, greed, power. Three words that built empires and destroyed families. In the wide-open lands of Texas, the ground itself tells stories. Stories of men who will do anything to control what lies beneath it. But this time the land is fighting back. Season 2 of Landman isn't just returning to our screens. It's digging deeper, darker, and deadlier than ever before. The calm before the storm has ended, and now the fire begins. There's a strange silence over Texas at dawn. The kind of silence that feels heavy, almost warning you that something is about to break. The sun rises over endless oil fields, the air shimmering with heat, and the distant hum of machinery echoes across the land. This is Landman, a story that captures the heartbeat of modern America, where ambition runs deeper than the oil wells and greed spreads faster than fire. Season 1 left viewers standing at the edge of an emotional cliff. The final moments weren't just shocking, they were devastating. Every decision, every betrayal, every explosion changed the course of the story forever. Tommy Norris, the man we once saw as strong and sure, was left standing in the ashes of everything he built. His dreams, his loyalty, his family, all stained by the price of oil. It wasn't just a business falling apart. It was a soul breaking under the weight of power. Now, as Landman Season 2 prepares to open its first episode, that silence, the eerie calm that hangs over the oil fields, feels like the pause before a war. The world of Landman is ready to explode again. But before it does, we have to understand how we got here. The Texas landscape itself feels like a character in this story. Wide, powerful, and unforgiving. Every scene seems to breathe. The rustle of dry grass, the sharp cry of distant birds, and the endless roar of machines tearing into the ground. It's beautiful, but it's also brutal. And just like the people who live on it, this land remembers everything. Every secret buried beneath the surface, every drop of oil pulled from the earth. It all comes at a cost. When you think about Landman, you realize it's not just a show about the oil business. It's about survival, moral, emotional, and physical. It's about how far a person will go when the ground beneath them is soaked in money and lies. In this world, every handshake hides a threat, and every promise comes with a price. Season 2 is going to show us those prices being paid in full. The calm before the storm is where people start to believe they've escaped the worst. But in Landman, that's when danger truly begins. Tommy Norris has seen too much to rest easy. The guilt from his choices in Season 1 doesn't fade, it furs. And somewhere in that Texas heat, new players are stepping onto the field, waiting to take what's left. The oil industry has never been stable, but now it's personal. Old rivals will return. New power brokers will emerge. And Tommy will have to face the truth he's been avoiding. That sometimes the biggest enemy isn't out there in the fields. It's inside your own heart. There's something almost poetic about the way Landman shows this side of America. It's not the glossy dream most people imagine. It's hard work, sweat, sacrifice, and corruption. It's the kind of world where loyalty is just another currency, and running out of it can be deadly. As the camera pans across those dusty roads and silent rigs, you can feel it. The tension, the weight of everything unsaid. The storm is coming and no one is ready for how hard it will hit. Season 2, Episode 1, will likely open with that same quiet energy. A moment of peace that feels too still, too calm. But make no mistake, it's only there to make what comes next hit harder. Every sound, every line, every shot will carry the pressure of everything that's happened before. The story is about to twist in ways no one sees coming. And once the first domino falls, there's no stopping it. That's the power of Landman. It doesn't need to shout to make you feel its strength. It whispers, and those whispers echo long after the episode ends. Because Landman isn't just about oil. It's about what happens when people dig too deep into the ground, into power, into their own guilt. And when they do, they find things they can't control. So, as the dawn breaks and the rigs start to move again, remember this. Every storm begins with silence. Every empire begins with a lie. And in Landman Season 2, Episode 1, both are about to collide in the most explosive way yet. Season 1 ended like a thunderclap, sudden, shocking, and impossible to ignore. It wasn't just about explosions or oil rigs collapsing. It was about the consequences of ambition, betrayal, and choices that Noon could walk back from. Every main character was left standing on the edge of uncertainty, their lives hanging like a pendulum over a fire they couldn't escape. And now, before Season 2 begins, we have to understand exactly what happened, because the story is only going to get heavier from here. Tommy Norris, the man at the center of it all, is no longer the confident, sharp-witted operator we first met. The weight of the oil empire, the decisions he made, and the lives lost under his name have left cracks in his armor. Season 1 showed USA man who could charm, intimidate, and command respect, but also one whose choices were fueled by pride and stubbornness. In the finale, Tommy faced the results of his actions head-on. Deals that seemed secure crumbled overnight. Allies he thought loyal vanished when he needed them most. and enemies underestimated revealed themselves at the worst possible moment. By the end of Season 1, Tommy was surrounded not just by people, but by consequences he couldn't escape. Hap, the corporate shark who seems untouchable, was exposed in ways no one expected. His arrogance, which often made him appear untouchable, finally showed its vulnerabilities. Season 1 peeled back his layers, showing that behind the power plays and ruthless negotiations, there was a man desperately trying to maintain control of a world that was slipping through his fingers. Hap's position in the finale was complicated. He survived, yes, but barely. And his survival wasn't a victory. It was a warning that the battle over Texas oil is only beginning, and no one can claim the crown without paying a steep price. Then there were the supporting characters, each one carrying their own burden. People we thought were minor players turned out to be crucial in shaping the final events of Season 1. Friendships broke under the weight of secrets. Alliances formed only to collapse when greed and fear came into play. Season 1 made it clear that in this world, no one is untouchable, not even those who seem most powerful. The finale didn't just set the stage for the next season. It shattered the stage entirely and left the pieces scattered in ways we're only now beginning to understand. The biggest cliffhanger of all, however, wasn't a physical threat. It was emotional. It was moral. It was the question of who each character truly is when everything they've built starts to crumble. Season 1 asked its viewers to consider not just who will survive, but who deserves to. There were moments of heartbreak that reminded us that the cost of ambition is always personal. Every character, whether hero or villain, is facing consequences they may never recover from. And that tension, the sense of inevitability, is what drives the story into Season 2. Another layer to consider is the power of betrayal in Season 1. It wasn't always dramatic or loud. Often it was subtle, quiet, almost invisible until it hit. Trusted allies made decisions behind closed doors. Deals that seemed fair were anything but. Characters who appeared loyal revealed hidden motives that could unravel everything Tommy and his allies fought for. These betrayals weren't just plot points. They were reminders that in the world of Landman, trust is rare, and the line between friend and enemy is razor thin. The oil fields themselves played a silent but powerful role in Season 1. Every rig, every drilling site, every transaction tied into the landscape of Texas told a story of ambition and destruction. Thielen doesn't lie. It remembers every secret buried beneath its surface. Every deal struck in its shadow. Every life altered by the thirst for power. Season 1 made this clear. The land is more than a backdrop. It's an active participant in the story. And as Season 2 opens, that presence will feel even stronger, as if the very ground is warning characters of the storms to come. Of course, no recap would be complete without mentioning the climactic events that shaped the Season 1 finale. There were confrontations that changed relationships forever, sudden reversals that left viewers gasping, and moments of tension that made it clear. In Landman, nothing is permanent. Just when it seems a character has the upper hand, the ground shifts, alliances fracture, and power changes hands. The finale left multiple threads unresolved, which is why the wait for Season 2 feels almost unbearable. Fans are left asking questions that have no easy answers. Who will rise? Who will fall? Who will be broken beyond repair? And let's not forget the emotional stakes. Season 1 wasn't just about deals and rivalries. It was about family, loyalty, and personal sacrifice. Characters were forced to face choices that tested their morality, their loyalty, and their courage. Some made decisions they would regret forever. Others were blindsided by the consequences of actions they didn't even take. By the finale, it was clear that every choice carries weight, and every consequence leaves a scar, not just on the land, but on the hearts of those who live and work on it. As we move into Season 2, Episode 1, all of these unresolved tensions will converge. The story isn't picking up where it left off. It's diving deeper, exploring consequences, testing allegiances, and amplifying stakes. Old wounds will resurface, and characters will be forced to confront not only their enemies, but themselves. Every interaction, every negotiation, every moment of silence will carry the weight of the past, reminding viewers that nothing in Landman is ever truly over. Season 1 left fans desperate for answers, hungry for resolution, and anxious to see who will survive the next chapter. It wasn't just a story about oil. It was a story about human ambition, frailty, and resilience. And now with Season 2 on the horizon, the question remains: can anyone truly control what's coming? Or are they all just pieces on a board waiting for the storm to sweep across the land, leaving only chaos behind? Season 2 of Landman is ready to open with a bang, and Episode 1 promises to be a storm of tension, drama, and unexpected twists. The calm that closed Season 1 will not last. The world of foil, ambition, and power that Tommy Norris and the other characters inhabit is about to change forever. From the first frame, viewers are plunged back into the dusty, sun-bleached fields of Texas, where every choice carries weight, and every decision could be the difference between survival and disaster. Episode 1 doesn't waste time. It reintroduces us to the stakes, the players, and the hidden threats lurking just beneath the surface. The opening scenes are expected to immerse viewers in the aftermath of Season 1's explosive finale. The rigs are still standing, but the damage is not just physical. Relationships have been shattered. Alliances that seemed unbreakable are strained to the breaking point. Tommy is walking a tightrope, balancing his ambition against the consequences of his past actions. His every move will be watched by enemies who are waiting for him to falter, and allies who may no longer be fully trustworthy. The tension in Episode 1 is immediate. The moment the camera pans across the horizon, you feel that everything is on the edge of collapse. Episode 1 will also introduce the subtle but powerful presence of new conflicts. While Season 1 focused heavily on personal rivalries and corporate battles, Season 2 shifts the focus toward a larger, more systemic struggle. New corporate players, government regulations, and environmental pressures begin to intersect with the personal ambitions of our characters. The oil fields themselves are no longer just a backdrop. They become a character in the story, shaping decisions, threatening stability, and reminding everyone that control is never absolute. Every rig, pipeline, and lease represents power, but it also carries danger. This duality will define the first episode, keeping viewers on edge as they try to predict what will happen next. One of the most exciting aspects of Episode 1 is the way it handles character development. Tommy Norris is no longer just the ambitious operator we met in Season 1. He is a man haunted by the weight of his own choices. In the first episode, we see him navigating this new reality, trying to assert control while dealing with both internal and external threats. The writers are expected to explore his moral compass in greater depth, testing his loyalty, his sense of justice, and even his survival instincts. Every decision he makes in Episode 1 will have far-reaching consequences, setting the tone for the rest of the season. Other returning characters are equally compelling in Episode 1. Hap's position may appear solid, but cracks in his power begin to show immediately. His interactions with both allies and adversaries hint at the fragility of his influence. Subtle gestures, carefully chosen words, and hidden agendas all contribute to a sense that no one is safe and no one has complete control. Meanwhile, secondary characters who were on the periphery in Season 1 step into the spotlight, adding layers of complexity to the story. Each has motivations that intersect with the main narrative in ways that are unpredictable and often dangerous. Episode 1 is about setting these threads in motion, weaving together old wounds and new ambitions. The episode is also expected to explore the psychological stakes in a much deeper way. Season 1 introduced the audience to the high-pressure world of oil politics, but Season 2, Episode 1 brings the emotional and psychological dimensions to the forefront. Characters are forced to confront not only external threats, but their own fears, regrets, and moral dilemmas. The show uses silence and atmosphere as much as dialogue to communicate tension. A quiet shot of Tommy looking across the horizon, a close-up of Hap's calculated smile, or the subtle exchange of glances between secondary characters can speak volumes about what is at stake. The episode creates suspense not through constant action, but through the anticipation of what is about to happen and what the characters are willing to risk to achieve their goals. In addition, Episode 1 is likely to introduce new plot lines that hint at the larger arcs of Season 2. Rumors suggest the arrival of new adversaries and power players who will disrupt the existing balance. These newcomers are not just obstacles, they are catalysts, forcing existing characters to adapt, betray, or strengthen their alliances. The first episode carefully lays the foundation for these future conflicts, while still providing immediate drama and suspense. Fans can expect subtle hints of betrayals to come, hidden motives that will explode later, and unexpected alliances that could shift the balance of power. Every moment feels calculated to pull viewers deeper into the story. Another key expectation for Episode 1 is the continued exploration of the moral ambiguity that defines Landman. Unlike shows with clear heroes and villains, Landman thrives in the gray areas. Characters are rarely entirely good or entirely evil. They operate in a spectrum shaped by ambition, loyalty, and survival. Episode 1 exemplifies this approach, presenting choices that are morally complex and emotionally charged. Viewers are forced to consider which characters they sympathize with and which ones they fear, often within the same scene. This moral tension drives engagement and sets the tone for the entire season. Visually, Episode 1 promises to be stunning. The cinematography emphasizes the harsh beauty of Texas. Wide shots of endless fields, the golden glare of the sun, and the mechanical rhythm of oil rigs in motion. These visuals are more than aesthetic. They reinforce the stakes and the tension. The environment itself becomes a silent antagonist, reminding the audience that in Landman, the land always has a say. It shapes the narrative, influences decisions, and punishes mistakes. Every frame in Episode 1 is constructed to immerse viewers in this dangerous high-stakes world. Finally, Episode 1 is expected to hit the ground running with a blend of action, suspense, and character drama. It won't just be a reintroduction. It will be an escalation. The opening minutes set the tone. The middle establishes conflicts, and the ending leaves viewers with questions, theories, and anticipation for the episodes to come. By the time the credits roll, audiences will know that Season 2 is not about what they expected. It's about what they never saw coming. Every beat, every line, and every visual in Episode 1 is designed to remind the audience that Landman is more than a story about oil and power. It is about human ambition, vulnerability, and the dangerous allure of control. Episode 1 signals that the calm is over, these stakes are higher, and the game is far from over. The threads from Season 1, the new threats, the personal and professional conflicts, they all converge in this first chapter of Season 2, promising an experience that is tense, emotional, and unforgettable. As fans prepare to dive into Season 2 Eyes 2, Episode 1, the message is clear. Expect intensity, expect conflict, and expect surprises. The first episode is the ignition point for a season that will challenge every character, test every relationship, define the boundaries of power in the Landman universe. By the end of the episode, viewers will be left thinking, theorizing, and waiting because the world of Landman is as unforgiving as it is compelling, and Season 2 is about to prove it. Every great story needs strong characters, and Landman is built on theirs. Season 2, Episode 1, begins by reminding us that the heart of this drama isn't the oil, the deals, or the corporate power. It's the people who inhabit this dangerous world. Every rig, every handshake, every contract is shaped by their ambition, loyalty, and fear. But this season, the spotlight isn't just on the battles they fight in the boardroom or on the oil fields. Season 2 will dig deeper, exploring the emotional and psychological scars left by Season 1. The alliances strained to breaking and the new enemies who will challenge even the most seasoned players. The characters are not the same as before. They are older, heavier, and haunted by what they have seen and done. Tommy Norris is at the center of it all. The man who once commanded respect with a confident smile and sharp mind is now weighed down by the consequences of his choices. Season 1 left him standing amid chaos, watching as the world he built teetered on the edge. Season 2, Episode 1 shows Tommy struggling to reconcile ambition with morality. He is torn between protecting what remains of his empire and facing the truth about the compromises he has made. Every decision he makes in the first episode carries layers of consequence. A handshake with a former ally may hide betrayal. A simple conversation may conceal a hidden agenda. Tommy's battle is not just external, it is internal. He must navigate guilt, regret, and fear, while still asserting dominance in a world where weakness is quickly exploited. Hap is another character whose presence in Episode 1 is electrifying. The corporate shark who seemed untouchable in Season 1 now faces cracks in his armor. Season 2 will show Hap struggling to maintain control, both over the empire he commands and over the